What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the One More Rep podcast. I'm your host. My name is Joseph Percher. As always, this video is brought to you by NutriBio Supplements, Crystals, Bikinis, and Bio Longevity Labs. Today, I am joined by top amateur super heavyweight bodybuilder and coach Pete Harden. Pete, thanks for taking the time. How are you, my friend?
Good, brother. Good. I'm happy to be here, man.
Yeah, very cool. So, like people have heard me talk about recently, I really just wanted to get back to speaking with guys that walk the walk. I think that that's when I am personally most interested, selfishly, but I think then that a lot of times results in the best conversations for the audience. So,
Absolutely.
man, you have a awesome story, man. I wasn't super familiar with you before USA's this year.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then, you had the stellar showing at USA's. And then from following you, I got a little bit more understanding of the backstory. And so we're gonna get right into that.
Let's do it.
Now, before we get into the X's and O's of bodybuilding, I do initially just want to hear. I know that you come from the powerlifting world, so
Yeah.
not to be rude, I don't need the whole backstory and what your totals were and everything, but what was the thing, the mindset or the catalyst for you that led to you switching over and going all in on bodybuilding?
Okay. So I powerlifted for a long time. So probably about 7 or 8 years competitively. I did my first bodybuilding show way back in 2014.
Oh,
I did
right
a
on.
I
Okay.
did a men's physique show, and I was
Wow.
like 19 years old. I prepped myself. I ate fish and asparagus for 6 weeks, and got on stage. I was like 170 pounds.
Wow.
And I hated it, dude. I was like, I
Yeah.
will never do this again. So I was like, let's just get as strong as we can, you know. And that's what kind of led me into powerlifting. And once I joined, I was in the army. Once I joined the military, as infantry, so I couldn't get like real big, you know what I mean? Because I had to
Sure.
run the ruck and all
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
stuff like that. Um, so it was kind of a good like combination of where I could still, be a bigger dude, but still train really heavy, but still go run my 2 mile PT test.
Right.
And so in the army is really where when I kind of took off on powerlifting and got like super indulged in it. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then so what changed then? So you're all in on that.
Yeah.
I want to know what the change was to go back to bodybuilding because even hearing
Man.
that you had this experience, it's not like you were like, I want to try something new. You had already done it and hated it. So
Yeah.
what brought you back?
Man. So really, so I started going to this gym. It's called Patriot Strength and Fitness. Small gym, not many people in there. It's just a metal building, and there was a couple. It was actually a female coach. She was kind of coaching some female bikini girls, whatever. Sheila Brown came to the gym. Sheila Brown, the posing coach out here in Dallas DFW area, and she saw me and she said, "Hey, like, you ever thought about doing a show?" I said, obviously I looked up to Branch and Johnny. I watched their training intensity. Like that shit was awesome, right? So I was like, of course, like I've done one. I didn't like it. I don't really know. And at the time, I was kind of getting bored of powerlifting. I was kind of like at the point where like my numbers were, you know, not stalled, but like the they just didn't increase very often. We'll say that. You know what I mean? You get to a certain strength point, and it's just like much slower progress. So I was kind of bored. And I was like, yeah, sure, let's do a show. And I hired a coach, and then we got back to it, and I fell in love with it, man. So the first show back was 2021, August 2021.
Wow, holy shit, dude. Man, that
Yeah,
really came together fast. I mean, I
came
know
together fast.
you spent a long time building the base. Like
Yeah, absolutely.
even if the muscle wasn't the goal, like you have that foundation. All of you guys that come from powerlifting, like you
Yeah,
talked about, you look at like Ronnie or some of these older guys, a lot of you have that crazy like in your face muscularity and graininess when you do get in shape. I've noticed it like,
yeah,
it seems like in the past couple of years there's been a handful of pretty prominent powerlifters that have kind of
yeah,
washed their
absolutely.
hands of it and come over,
Yeah,
and it's like, man, a lot of you have a really crazy look. The thing that stands out to me about you compared to some of these guys though, especially, is a lot of you guys come over and you have like, the big chest, the super thick back, but you're
yeah,
missing kind of the bodybuilding bells and whistles, right? Like you're kind of missing
yeah.
lower lats, you're missing delts
Arms,
and
guys.
arms,
Yeah.
and you have it all, dude. You have such a
Oh man.
crazy developed physique.
Thank you,
So
man.
so that's 2021.
Yeah,
Now I want to get into the part that I'm selfishly excited to talk to you about.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
so fast forward, so you come back 2021, and
Yeah,
that was what were you classic physique?
classic. Yeah, classic. Because
So
I'm
classic
6 foot
physique.
tall, right at 6 foot, so I was like classic
Yeah.
D, classic D. Yeah,
Yeah. So 2021 comes back, classic physique. 2023,
yeah,
June of 2023, you do junior nationals, classic physique.
yes.
And then it was what, nationals? So 5 months
Like
later,
5 months
you're
later.
you're super heavyweight.
Yeah,
Please talk to me about this.
yeah, man.
Tell
So that
me,
was
tell
kind of
me, tell me it all, dude. Are you
yeah.
open to talking PEDs? I probably should have asked you
Yeah, that's fine, man.
off.
We can
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
them. I typically this will be the first one I'm talking, where I'm open up, but
Okay,
I'm good.
cool.
Yeah. Um, okay, so yeah, dude. So I did, yeah, junior nationals. I got third. I was really, I like saw the look and I was like, shoot, like I'm pretty fucking good at this.
Yeah.
I was waiting for feedback forever. Wasn't getting feedback. So again, Sheila Brown, she got me in touch with Branch. Branch is my coach. So she got me in touch with Branch. She sent my photos to him, and he was like, he looks good, but he needs to be a body. He needs to go open bodybuilder. Brand, right, right.
Hell yeah.
And so I was like, you know what, dude? Like, is he willing to reach out to me? So I got on the phone with Branch. Branch gave me a call, and sure as shit, he was like, let's work together. And so I started
Sorry to
working.
cut you off. Was that
Yeah.
like surreal?
Oh man, when he was like, first off, just him texting me, and then he said, "Hey, look, I'm gonna call you in 10 minutes or whatever." And I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah." And then sure as shit, he answers, and Branch has that real like
Hey, what's
his
going on?
voice is,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
just so unique. And I remember like I was just like I was like, yeah, oh, wow, like just yeah, and I was like, yeah, fanboying big time. But
Yeah,
I was trying to play
awesome.
it cool, trying to
Yeah,
play it
yeah, of
cool.
course.
So yeah, so I started working with Branch that July, man, and one, he took the training wheels off from the food, you know what I mean? Because I was
Yes.
so restricted in my off seasons to not get too big. Because the first show I did in 2021, I was already 215. My cap was 220, so
Okay.
it was very
So
like
you're just
slow,
holding it in between.
hold it
Yeah.
back, and it was like he was like, "Look, man, you're never going to see your full potential in that weight cap. It's just not there. You know what I mean?" Um, so he started feeding me like a fucking horse. I've never eaten that much before. And obviously, yeah, we threw in. That was the first time I took GH. We put
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so
Awesome.
that was the first time I took GH. So we put 6 units in, and that
Hell
like
yeah.
blew me up, dude. It blew me up.
Hell
I
yeah.
was like, so we got to almost 280 from July to where I was 12 weeks out from nationals,
Yeah.
and then
And
and
so
then we
what, you were
started.
like, you had to be 220 or less on stage that June.
That's what it was. Yeah,
And
for
then you go
classic.
right up to 280.
Yeah. Yeah, we
Wow.
blew up fat. Well, I was uncomfortable. We blew
Nice,
up,
dude.
we blew up fat. Dude, even now, he's not one of those guys who reverses out of the show slow.
No.
He's like straight, all right, back to 6,000 calories. There's no like,
Hell
yeah,
yeah.
he doesn't roll that way. But yeah, since I just wasn't I mean, I was muscled, but not like, those first couple off seasons, they're a little sloppy. So that's what they look
Sure.
like, puff
Yeah.
puffy and watery, and, got really strong. And then when he pulled me down, we pulled down hard. But as far as like, the PD wise, man, as far as like, besides the GH, we didn't do nothing crazy. He's old school. It's test Deca Dbol. You know what I mean?
Love it. Love it.
That's
Yeah.
what we did. And then yeah, I was like 242 at nationals, like 20 pounds in like 5 months. Yeah.
Unbelievable, man. I
It's
love that because one of the big recurring themes of the things that have showed up in my own personal experience and that I try to just openly talk about on the videos when I make them is
yeah,
that, there's all of these theories and different things that you hear from people, whether it's, these lighter guys that are, have a big following online but don't have much to
yeah,
show for it in real life. And,
yeah,
they like to say, you know, you can build muscle at calorie maintenance, or bulking is dead, bolting is vaulted, right? They have these
yeah,
phrases. And
yeah,
then, the other thing is like this prominence of like the safer use model. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but it's like,
yeah. Well,
I did it for years where it's basically like a minimal amount of testosterone and then as much masteron as your knees can handle.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
like, man, I am yet to find someone that used that to build a big foundation.
Yeah,
Maybe if you're
absolutely.
already big, like, John Jewett, some of these other guys were already super impressive, and then you use that,
And now
fine.
you switch that. Yeah,
different, but I want to know what it took. What did you do to get big? And it's like over and
Yeah.
over again. It's like you said, it's the same shit. Like there's
It
no
is,
magic
man.
in any of this. It's like,
No.
man, high test, nandrolone, and GH alone could make you enormous, coupled with the
Absolutely.
food and the training. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love to hear that. Love to hear that it's like, I would have guessed that Branch is not fucking around post show with the food. Like, listen, motherfucker, you're gonna eat.
Oh,
Like, I love that,
absolutely,
dude.
man.
I love that.
Man,
That's a big
so
thing that's totally changed my not only my own physique, but
yeah,
applying that with clients. It's like you get
man.
peeled and then we're gonna get big.
Yeah, there's no look, there's none of this like cruising. Besides PDs, but I'm saying like food wise, man. It's like why waste time? Why do I need lines in my glutes 3, 4 weeks post show? What's the
Right. You
purpose
don't
of
win
it? What
any
the fuck am
awards
I
for
doing?
that.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
no reason for it. And like, I don't gain 30 pounds the first week, but like, yeah, as far as these guys who are bragging, like, oh, I'm 2 pounds up post show, like, I don't give a what for what.
Hire somebody else. Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
man, like, why, dude? I'm trying to
Yes.
sleep, I'm trying to recover, I'm trying, all that
Yeah.
stuff. And you're not doing that when you're peeled like that. And there's no way.
And especially not with the way that you train. That's one thing that stands out to me from
Yes.
getting connected with you online.
Yeah.
And it's so apparent to me that you do have even if I didn't know that he was your actual coach, I
Yeah.
feel like I see a lot of Branch in your style of training. Like maybe
Yeah.
just a slightly more evolved and mature approach, but in terms
I
of the
would, yeah.
intensity and the desire. So
Yeah.
like what does recovery look like for you? Like are you I'm not I know that you coach, but do you also
Yeah.
work, or is that now has it gone to something that's what you do full time, and so you're kind of able to tailor your life around recovery? Because that's
Yeah.
just going to be one of the when someone is getting the food in and trains as hard
Yeah.
as you, it's really
Yeah.
just comes down to can you recover?
Yeah, that's a big thing. So no, I still do work full time, but now with how
Okay.
like coaching right now is really like taking off.
Awesome.
I'm also like in the I'll just put it out, it don't matter. Um, I've been like my loans and underwriting, I'm buying Metroflex Mansfield, the gym I train at.
Oh wow,
So like
congratulations, dude.
fingers
That's
crossed.
crazy.
Hopefully that may be a cool Christmas present. We'll know here in a couple of days.
Cool.
So that'll be kind of the full time gig here pretty
Yeah.
soon. So which has been awesome. I think since USA's, man, I've had a lot more people reach out to me for coaching, and this year I finally got some more competitors and stuff like that,
Yeah.
which has been cool. But so yeah, man, as far as recovering, I, the food, man. The food. I don't do nothing fancy. I don't. I mean, I'm not. To be honest, I'm not spending the money on the once or twice a week body work stuff.
Right.
I do simple, just Epsom salt baths, mobility work, things like that. But I do a bro split.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Basically, I do a
noticed that.
bro split.
I saw you
Yeah,
today train chest, and it's just 15 sets of chest. And I'm like,
that's it.
this is my type of guy.
Yeah. So I do a bro split. Besides, I kind of have a two leg days. That's something I want. I
Yeah.
wanted to bring up my arms and my legs this year, so I
Yeah.
do like a hamstring day with like one quad movement, and then I do like a full quad day with another hamstring movement type stuff. But other than that, man, it's chest, back, hams, arms, legs. And then I don't even
Yeah.
have a shoulder day right now because my delts have kind of like,
They're nuts. Yeah.
yeah, the delts kind of got a little out of control. So that's why manager's like, hey, let's pull no more shoulders. So yeah, so hitting things only once a week. That's why I kind of go in there and I'll hit 15 to 20 sets, you know what I mean? And then I'll have plenty of time to recover.
So
Yeah.
you mentioned like limbs are the big priority, right?
Yeah.
Like legs and arms, right? To
Yes.
kind of just I'm in the exact same boat as
Are
you,
you?
man. I'm a tall white guy and I'm trying to
Dude,
fill in the X, right?
that's it.
So
Yeah.
same deal. I prefer a bro split style. So I kind of have like a custom bro split that just has legs twice, and it
Yeah.
basically has arms like sprinkled in wherever I can. So like
I've kind of, yep.
one of the leg days I'm doing curls before my actual leg training starts, right?
Yeah.
Like before back I do
Yeah.
tries, before chest I'll do buys as a way of just flipping it around.
Yep.
um so a couple of people had asked that like specifically about arm
Yeah.
training. So you have the one big arm day, is that super
Yeah.
high volume, and as a follow-up, is there any other work in the rest of the week that you're doing for the
Yeah.
arm?
So like, So like I strained my tricep a few weeks ago, so I didn't hit it today. But typically I'll throw like 6 sets of triceps and with chest,
Yep.
and then I'll throw 6 sets of biceps with back. And sometimes I flip flop those. I go sometimes I'll do
Yeah.
chest and biceps back or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'll get 6 sets there, and then my actual arm day is usually um, it's usually 12 to 16 sets of triceps and biceps. So like four movements a piece.
Hell yeah. So you're
Yeah,
that's some high volume work right there.
pretty high volume. And that's kind of
Yeah.
recently, man. Like that's like what I've been running this off season since
Yeah.
USA's. And I just feel like my muscle bellies look different, man. Like
They
I
look
just feel like,
rounder. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And I've always been pretty dense, but not as much like pop as I'm
Well,
getting
you
right
think
now.
about the type of training before, and it's
Yeah,
like we have seen this with guys. We've seen this with
yeah.
guys like Dorian and, a current example like a James Hollingshead, right? Who built their
That's who
physique
comes to mind.
like
Absolutely.
dense, hard, lower rep sets, right?
Yeah.
And they had this crazy dense, granular look. But then
Yes.
you look at somebody like Dexter Jackson or any of these super high volume trainers, and
Bubbly.
they're crazy round and bubbly and
Yeah.
full. And I don't think, yes, there's, of course, genetics are all part of it, and
Of
you have to
course. Yeah. Yeah.
work
Yeah.
within the cards that you were dealt. But I
Yeah.
do think we have some say about it in
Yeah.
terms of how we train often carries right over to how we look. So
The
I
muscle
love to
appearance.
hear
Yeah.
that, man. It's
Yeah.
it'll be cool too, like now knowing that this has kind of been the progression for you. When you come back to stage, it will be cool to hear about that. So let me go
Yeah.
back. So
Definitely.
you all in a matter of 5 months, you go from classic physique at 220 pounds
220.
to
Yeah.
super heavyweight 240 plus.
Yeah.
Uh, so then you took 24 off. Do I have that right?
I did. Yeah. I took 24 off. Yep.
And
Yep.
then you came back in this most recent USA is your second place super heavyweight
Yes.
to the
Yes.
overall winner. Chris Knox won the
Yes.
Mr. USA's.
Exactly.
So, just to stir things up, I had to know, how did you feel about that? Do you feel like it was deserving? Of course, it was deserving, but
No, absolutely.
do you look at it and think, man, I had him
Yeah.
on X, Y, and Z shot, or was it just like, okay, back to work?
Yeah, I mean, at the initial moment, man. So when I came off, obviously the stage after prejudging, I have my phone's blowing up, right? And
Yeah,
I'm looking at photos, and I'm like, dude, I'm a lot harder than this dude. Like
yeah,
structurally bigger. Like I personally, like I like my look. You know what I mean? And a lot of people
yeah,
were like, hey, that's yours, bro. It's yours. Blah blah blah. Come
yes,
back. And I'm like, okay, cool, but whatever. I still got work we got to do.
right, right,
When it happened, man, I gave the dude a hug. I was definitely I was upset in the moment. As a
yeah,
competitor, you're so, and I've never been that close, man. When you're that close to that card, whoo, it's hard. It's emotional.
yeah.
And but you know what, man? He's a solid dude. He
He
is
is. I've known.
he
No, I don't want to say I've known, but I've communicated with Chris for like years. Like I
yeah,
remember talking to him 5 years ago, and he was 198.
I know, man. So he's been at it a long time, man. And like I
Yes.
say, he's very deserving of it. Like I
Yeah.
look back now, and yeah, there's definitely like his hamstrings, like especially on the side shots, super thick.
Yeah.
He kind of I feel like that's what I was missing. It's a
Yeah.
it's just a different physique, man.
It's a different look. It's like
It's
we
a
were just
different
talking
look.
about. It's that round, pretty look as
Yep,
opposed to
yep.
like
The
raw in
hard
your face
grainy,
muscle.
yeah.
Yes.
And so, and the scorecards came out. He beat me by 2 points. It was close,
Yep.
very close. Um, I I personally I like I'm just a bodybuilder's bodybuilder. I like the grainy, the condition, the peeled
Yes.
glutes. Like it's
Yep.
hard for me to think like how that wasn't a reward. What was rewarded? I beat some good dudes. That was a good class.
I was gonna say,
Um,
dude, second place,
yeah,
and going back, you were at that first super heavyweight showing. You were what, like 11th or something, 12th?
12,
So,
12.
dude, that's like
Yeah,
a big time leap. There are guys that take a
bigly.
year off and it doesn't really result in much. You took a full
Yeah.
year off and come back and leapfrog the whole crowd.
Absolutely, yeah. So that, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was so happy. So it's kind of like it
Yeah,
was one of those things where it was like, even if I got my car that day, I still had to go in the off season to get bigger. So it was almost
yeah.
like it don't matter. I got to get either way is back
Back
to
to the
work.
process,
Yeah,
right?
either way. Yeah,
Yes, yeah.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
what then, being that you were that close and you, even so, you still felt like, hey, regardless, I need to just get back to work. Is that, was that the driving force to not follow up later in the year at some of the shows like North Americans or
Man,
nationals?
dude,
Because you're
really the
right there
only
for nationals, dude.
absolutely the only reason I didn't. So okay, I thought about definitely thought about doing nationals. I was also going to do North Americans, but um, Branch is like I said, he's a family guy like I am. So it's kind of one of those things where because that first the regional I did was 4.5 weeks before
I
USA.
saw that. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I've been in prep for a while, and
That was like end of June, yeah.
yeah,
And
June
what,
twenty
do you start in
first to
March or
August
something?
20
Like,
to July 20. Yeah, exactly. So I've been
yeah.
in prep for a while, and the family was just they both my boys. I have a 10-year-old, 8-year-old. They both play football.
Wow.
And
Wow.
yeah, so I'm an assistant coach, so it's kind of like they're already doing summer workouts and
Yes.
blah blah blah, and I was just MIA, you know.
Yeah.
At that point, I'm not doing anything that
Yeah, you're
I
brain
don't
dead. Yeah.
exactly. So that was kind of why I said, you know what, whatever, let's just shut it down. But I asked Branch first, and he said, no, man, we're not. You're not doing a third show. You just get healthy. We'll grow. We'll come back. So but it was definitely hard because a lot of people were reaching out to me. Hey man, we
Sure.
do North Americans, we do nationals, blah blah blah.
Right.
And nationals is such a cool show, man. So, but next year, me and the wife, we already talked, and it's kind of like we're gonna go till we get it, you know.
Okay. So are
So
you going to start next year at USA's? And if you have to, you'll just run the gauntlet?
just keep running, bro. Yeah, that's the
Cool.
plan.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
you're qualified. So no need to hit something
no
sooner,
need.
you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll probably do like a little mock like peak or something like a couple weeks before.
Something close to
Um,
home. Yeah.
just to kind of see, yeah, and then just go, yeah. But hopefully USA's works, and then from
Yeah.
there, I'd like to turn around and do the Texas Pro because it's 2 weeks
Hell
after,
yeah.
so that'd be cool.
Well, and
Yeah,
at that point, like you said, you know, the card obviously representing that, but
yeah,
another full year of an off season at that point, you will have, more of a pro caliber physique,
exactly.
regardless of the status itself.
That's what we were thinking. So yeah, it'd be more so like just hop in there, get your feet wet type thing. So we're at, but
Yeah.
if everything looks like everything continues how it is, I mean I should be probably 260, 265 on stage.
Hell
That's a
yeah.
pretty, I thought that'd be a competitive look, you know?
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially because it, like I was saying earlier, man, I, other than the level of grainy conditioning you have and like the
Yeah.
the the amount of muscle that you have, I would
Yeah.
not look at your physique and say this is a guy that was a power lifter because you
Yeah.
have a complete bodybuilding physique. So like
Okay.
you
Yeah.
said, you just add further to it and still bring that conditioning.
That's,
It's going to be a competitive look.
yeah. Yeah. That's my idea of it, man. I think, and then, like obviously with a little bit bigger hamstrings for the back, more adductor, a little bit more arm. Like, yeah. And I think that's my thing. I'm pretty balanced. For being a tall dude, I'm pretty
Yes.
balanced.
Yeah. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
that was the same sentiment that I took from, besides obviously like how big you are. I'm like, man, he's
Yeah.
really not missing anything. There's not anything
Yeah.
that's really not there. Um,
Absolutely.
so then, so that you guys shut it down after USA. What
Yeah.
has, like you talked about, Branch pushes it hard, but what is,
Yeah.
food look like? Because for people listening, so you're about 6 feet tall, and for a while now, you've been holding a really good looking 300 plus.
Yeah,
So
dude.
what does food look like?
So Frank's pretty old school with it. Just meat and rice.
Yep.
When I'm when my appetite's there, I was doing cream of rice and stuff. But I'll say my diet's been the same for the last I don't know, probably 4 months. So basically
Okay.
since we like initially pushed, food hasn't changed a whole lot. Um, we're running. I posted those shakes. I do these two big shakes a day. Orange juice, bananas, oats, and then whey. And then the other four meals are basically like, well, 3 meals is just it's like 500 grams of rice, 8 or 9 ounces of meat, and then yeah, then
Hell
one meal
yeah.
six eggs and like three bagels.
Okay, so I was going to ask about fats because
Yeah,
I've been there myself. I'm not nearly
yeah,
as muscular as you, but I have to eat tons and tons of
you gotta
food.
eat tons. Yeah,
And I am just someone, if one, if I'm going to get all that food in, and two, if I want it to look decent,
yeah.
I'm not a guy that does well with fats, like added
Okay,
fats.
really?
Yeah, yeah. I just look
Yeah.
like I'm fat.
Man, so I can handle fats pretty well.
Okay, that was what I
I
was
would
going to ask.
honestly eat. I would honestly add more if it wouldn't slow my digestion. They're
Right,
satiating. That's my
right.
issue. Um, but I can handle them well. So it is an easy way for me to add some calories. So like I'll
Yeah.
throw extra fats into my last meal or something like towards the
Right.
end of the
Because there's
day.
nothing after that. Right.
Nothing after, yeah. Um, so yeah, I mean, calorie wise, I'm like a 65 to 7,200 guy. Yeah,
And
that's where I've been.
what about off plant stuff? Is it a consistent thing? Is it just when you want something you have it, or
Yeah, dude, I'm kind of green lighted to have a cheat a day if I want. You know what I
yeah,
mean? I
yeah,
typically don't just because like again, you have if you have something crazy that night, the next morning it's hard to eat. You know,
yeah,
uh, but I'll typically yeah, if me and the family are out, man, I know hey we're gonna be out for a couple hours and they want to go out to lunch or something like that, then I'll eat off plan.
cool,
But I would say on average I have like 3 off plans a week probably.
yeah. And
Yeah.
what do you like? What's a go to that doesn't disrupt the whole
Man,
process?
I'm right now. I'm like sub sandwiches. I like,
Subs, okay.
yeah,
Don't
sub
tell me you're
sandwiches,
going to
man.
Subway, dude.
No, not Subway. I like
Okay,
Jersey Mike, Jersey Mike's,
Jersey
or
Mike's. Okay, I'm a Jersey
yeah,
guy. I can dig it.
Jersey Mike's and Firehouse. I don't know if you ever had
Firehouse is
Firehouse.
killer, dude.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll eat me a couple big old sandwich, a couple cookies,
Yeah.
bag of chips, whatever. Yeah,
Okay, right on.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was telling a story recently on one of the shows. Um, I was wearing like a blood glucose monitor, right?
Okay.
And you have an idea, like if you go out, I typically would do an off-plan meal as like my final meal, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
especially if I'm eating, like I can really eat, you know what I mean? Um, but I had gone out with my lady, and we finished dinner at 7 o'clock or whatever it is, right?
yeah.
And it was modest, dude. For someone that can really eat like me, I'm
Okay.
being honest. It was a
Yeah, yeah,
modest
yeah.
meal, right? I might have had some bread before the entree, steak and a side, and then a little dessert.
Okay.
I come home, go to sleep, wake up, hydrate. I go for my morning walk,
Yeah.
check the blood glucose monitor, 176. I'm
What?
like, bro, this I should have never even looked at this. Like I have
Oh
PTSD from looking at
no!
this
So now
shit
you're
now.
like
Now I'm like, man, I am never eating off plan again.
staying
Because
away
it's
from it,
like,
huh?
man, for someone like me, if that's the type of response I'm gonna get, that'll take you 4 days to get back
To
into a
get that
normal range
cleanse, come
again. You know
back
what I
down.
mean?
God
So
dang.
it's just I'm always curious of how some guys do it. Like on the surface, you would think the bigger you are, the harder you train. Like, yeah, have 3 a week. Like if anything, it's
Yeah,
a lot of times when we're eating as much food as you are and
yeah,
training is hard, like outputs high, um, a lot of times we can't even keep up with it. So that's like you eat off plan and you end up lighter because it
you
didn't
know,
match the calories you need.
yes, man. Than a normal
So,
meal, and that's
right.
yeah, that was something I struggled with forever, and I just gave up. I'm not even gonna eat these things anymore. But yeah, so now when I do eat them, I try to do extra. If I get home, I'm still hungry. I have a big old bowl of cereal or
Hell yeah.
something. You know what I mean? Like I'll just yeah. Because the whole purpose is the extra influx of calories. But again, sometimes your actual meals are so big, it's hard to match it off some. If you just get like a burger and fries, you're probably better off just eating
It's
your meal.
lighter, dude.
Yeah, you'll
100%
be
it's
lighter.
lighter.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, okay. So if you're up for it too, like what is off season? You don't need to go to like numbers if you don't want
Okay.
to.
Yeah.
But what is you talked about it earlier, like old school approach.
Yeah.
What does the off season look like in terms of PEDs? And then how does it change for you? What have you found that you like as you transition into like being more concerned with the look, like in contest prep?
And
And I
contest prep. Okay.
follow-up question, hearing that you eat all this food and still look so lean, is
Yeah.
insulin something that is part of your off season typically?
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, it definitely is. So as far as just injectables, it's just tested EQ. That's kind of been the change this year. Last year we did
Yeah.
NPP, but for me, after a long time on NPP, it starts like it messes with me a little bit mentally.
Okay. And you haven't had
So
any of that from EQ, like no
yeah,
mental sides.
zero from EQ.
Okay.
But I've heard some guys do. Yeah. So
Dude, so this, sorry to cut you off, but
no, yeah, go ahead.
it's because it almost has like returned back to prominence, right? Like everyone was on the Masteron
Everybody's
kick,
right. I know,
and
man.
then
Yeah.
now it's like, well, I know I can get real EQ, and people are back on it. For the
Yeah.
most part, my experience, especially as a coach, like helping other people do it, the
Yeah.
majority of people are not getting anything close to what you hear about, like whether it's
Yeah.
on labs or whether it's in their brain. Like most of that I find is way overblown.
Yeah. Yeah.
However, just recently, one of my longest standing, like most all in clients
Yeah.
has been on like an off-season cycle, ramping things up to where like the EQ now is probably 8 or 10 weeks into it or something. And the kid damn near had like a mental breakdown and was like,
Oh
dude, I do
man.
not think I can, I think I need to take this out because
Yeah.
everything else is
Holy
constant.
cow. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So that's
now have seeing that in real life, and it's someone I trust, like I know they know how to relay good feedback.
yeah.
Um, it was like super eye-opening because it's
Yeah.
now I had almost dismissed everything that you hear. People say, oh, it would give me anxiety or give me depression. It makes my red blood cell count and my blood pressure go through the roof.
Yeah.
For the whole year, I wasn't seeing that with anyone. And
Yeah.
then this happened to this guy, and I was like, damn, dude, I'm
Dang
so
it.
sorry this happened to you.
Yeah, man. Well, that's the thing. Like, I haven't had that, and I'm at I'm at 900 a week, and
Nice.
yeah, and no issues.
Hell yeah.
I've been on it now for we're about to like I said, we're just pulling back to the health phase. I think I ran about 16 weeks.
Wow. Nice.
Not
Really
not
nice,
at
dude.
900, titrated up
Yeah, sure.
from like 600 up, but yeah,
Well, you
no.
would know by now.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So, but, um, but yeah, other than that, yeah, test EQ. We started off with Dbol, GH, and then so insulin. The insulin protocol that I eventually got to is kind of it's something that I've never done. We did it just this year. It's kind of
Yeah.
I'll go into detail. It's
Cool.
like so I, 3 days a week. It got we we got to like 4 to 5 days, but it was just like unsustainable. But so 3 days a week was kind of where we landed. Um, but so it's 45 units of Humalog in a day. So
Yeah.
it's 15 units, and you take 15 units, 12 ounces of orange juice, so 25 grams of glutamine.
Yeah.
20 minutes later, it was like 120 grams of oats, um, whey, and then 100 grams of carb powder. And then I would drink
Okay.
that. And then so I would do that meal 3 times a day on top of
Oh
four whole
shit.
meals.
Oh shit. You're getting
Yeah.
after it. Okay. Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah, so that was aggressive. And so we ran that
How
for a
did that
while.
sorry to cut you off. How does that time up with your day? Is one of those pre-training?
Yeah, so it would be like so the at the time that's when I was training at 3:30 in the morning because my kids have football practice when
Oh
I get off
shit.
work.
Wow,
So I
you're a
was training.
machine, dude.
Yeah, did I ran that? I had to train like that for 2 years. I'm just now getting a little break. But so yeah, I'd get up 3 a.m. and I'd boom, do that meal number one, go
Okay,
train,
awesome.
and then I would do then I'd get home. I wouldn't do that. I wish I could do it post workout. I didn't do it post workout.
Yeah.
But then I would go to work, have my X amount of meals, come home, have that as like my fourth meal, eat a fifth meal, and then do that again before bed. Because I wasn't going to hypo, dude. Or just pounding so many
No, it's
carbs
tons
during.
of no, you're more than covered.
Yeah,
Yeah.
more than covered. So, yeah, it was doing that, and that's really what like body composition changed. Like we started.
Like
That
for
was
the
what the
better?
yeah for the better. That's
Yes.
when
Yep.
crazy. And so that's when I was like, man, my physique looks more like a pro physique. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
kind of like shit started rounding out, getting like a
Hell
different
yeah.
look. Um,
Man, I
so
love that.
we pulled insulin like 3 weeks. I'm not on insulin now,
Yeah,
just to kind of get resensitized to it because
of
I think
course.
you get to a point you can't just stay on it. But
No. And I
um,
love the approach too, like where it's like, we're going to start with this as the protocol, but we're going to do this as infrequently as possible so that we can
yeah,
draw it out, right? Like you go straight into it at 5 days a week or 7 days a week, you're going to get 2 weeks into it and you're going to be like, a fat, sweaty mess. Whereas
absolutely,
you do it 2 or 3 days a week, and it's
yeah.
you try to time it probably where it's never 2 straight days in a row, so there's like a little break in between.
That's how,
And
yeah.
man, you can run that shit for 10 or 12 weeks, and it still has that strong effect.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I was doing on both my leg days and my arm day is what I was
Perfect,
doing it. Yeah.
awesome.
And so that was something new this year. And that was kind of a different thing. That'll probably be implemented back again before we start prep. But um
Let me ask you, how do you what do you notice then? So that's one of those big rounds of like the
yeah.
insulin and the meals is pre-training. What did you notice a difference training?
Yeah, the fullness was just
Crazy pumps, right? Like
crazy.
excruciating.
Fullness was crazy, man. Yeah, just
Yeah.
like,
Hell
and
yeah.
that was the other thing. Like doing on a leg day is like because of back pumps.
I know.
That was like the thing I'd run into, but it was just just had to fucking work through it. But
Yeah.
the fullness was just stupid. The fullness through the whole day. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
When you're doing it sporadically through the day, it was like, God dang, dude. It
Yeah.
was like
You
I'm
look down
walking
and your
around.
legs are a bag of blood, dude. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm like
Awesome.
going to my kids' football practice, bro. My arms are just like full as a house, and I'm like, oh,
Right.
this is
Right. You
terrible.
have that pump feeling like where the skin feels like it's going to burst and shit, man. Well
Oh
timed and like a thoughtful insulin protocol, dude, is like
man,
one of the game changing things about
game
bodybuilding. Like you
changer,
never
man.
want to put too much into the drugs,
Yeah,
like and it's adherence and consistency are the name of the game. But when
oh, absolutely.
guys that have already locked up all the variables for years and
Yeah,
years,
man. At this level, everybody's eating their food and training. You know what I mean? Yeah,
everybody's on
yeah,
top of it. So then it's like, what
yeah,
is the one or two things that actually make the incremental difference? And to me, in my experience, it's well timed and thoughtful insulin use
yeah,
with bodybuilding doses of GH.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. Yeah, because I've been I generic GH, but anywhere from
Yeah,
10 to 15 units a day. So yeah,
hell yeah.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I'm just curious personally, do you
yeah.
notice that it's more difficult to handle more when you're big? Like, do you ramp it up in prep?
For what
The
the
GH.
GH?
Yeah.
Oh man, no, I don't really go. It stays pretty much steady.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
As far
I
as I
asked
don't
I asked because I've tried larger numbers, like
like
in the off season.
dieting. Oh no, okay,
Well, the first time that I ever really tried it a lot was in an off season. I tried
yeah,
15 a day,
yeah,
and immediately I got like unbearable burning carpal tunnel.
it bad, dude.
Terrible, right?
Yeah,
So then I just
yeah.
yanked it out. I pretty much went the rest of that off season without it.
Without,
And I work with Justin Compton.
okay,
And he
yeah,
was like, "Hey, just hold, like, don't sweat it, just hold on to it, and we'll ramp it back up in prep when you're not holding any water, you're lean, food is
okay,
less, right?" So we got to a point where then, yeah, like after I had dieted for a few weeks, we put 15 back in, same batch of product and everything,
yeah,
zero side effects,
dude. What? Okay,
zero side effects. So
yeah,
then I'm like, damn, maybe this took care of itself, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
I wait until like we hit like a hard post show rebound. He's big on that.
He is right. Yeah,
And I'm like, you know what? For the sake of being a guinea pig, I need to try this. I'll document the whole thing for YouTube. So I tried 20 a day, right? Coming out of the
shit.
show. And
Yeah,
I got like 5 weeks into it, and it was insane at first.
yeah.
And
You
it
made
got
five
to the
weeks.
point I made it 5 weeks, and by like that fifth or sixth week, the carpal tunnel was so bad. If I laid down like flat at
Yeah,
any point, it doesn't matter if it was actually for bed or not,
yeah.
it felt like my arms would fill. Like I could be laying down for I would make it 10 seconds and my
Yeah.
arms would be burning.
So
So I had
annoying.
weeks where I never slept more than an hour at a time. And the
Yeah.
sleep that I did get was because
Man.
I would sleep upright in a chair, like up against the wall.
Yeah, man.
So I went through this whole process, dude, and I
Oh,
I went to a surgeon, and he was like, "This is one of the worst cases of carpal tunnel I've ever seen."
are you
Uh,
serious?
yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
Oh,
I have permanent numbness in these fingers.
oh
They wanted
no.
to do the surgery, and my
Yeah.
insurance would only approve one. I needed it on both sides. They would only
Yeah.
approve the one. The other
Okay.
one was so invasive, they were like, "We're not going to approve this." So I've gone without it. Whatever. Long
Yeah.
story short, I was just curious because you're a guy that's big in real life,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I was wondering if you've had that experience because running it high in prep, dude, totally changed how I look.
Man, I've never, yeah, we've never ramped it up in prep. That's kind of, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
curious about that. Because last
Well,
year, like we never went over. I think the most we did was like 8.
yeah.
So we really pushed it up this year. But again, even at 15 units, I'll put it up until I just like can't handle it anymore, and then I
Yeah.
got to go back down to
And then
10
you
because
have
I'm
to
like,
pull up.
yeah,
Well,
because sleeping, man.
it's the only thing that will pull you back to normal side effect wise is you have
That's
to pull
it.
it back
You
down.
have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to. It doesn't mean you're just like, oh, it'll go away in a few days.
That and it's like, man, I'm such a psycho too. Like there's times where it started to come on and I'm like, this isn't that bad. Like
Yeah,
I
it's
try to
worth it. It's
gaslight
worth.
myself into thinking it's okay. And then it just got
Yeah,
to a point where it wasn't. But
yeah,
Okay, awesome. And then what about
Yeah.
so that's Humalog. Any experience with Lantis or any of the longer
Man, no,
stuff?
I've never tried the long no Lantis or nothing. I was definitely thinking about it, but like again, Branch, that's not something he said, to do, so we
Yeah.
just haven't
They
done it.
probably didn't even have it when he was in his
I
like
don't think it
prime.
was a thing when he was coming up, man. Yeah,
And that shit works. You know what though? I like
yeah,
both. I think there's a time and a place or a way of
just run them
using
both.
both.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
if you can handle it and you're not an idiot, I
Yeah,
think that the Humalog. So I've said the opposite in the past. I don't want to
yeah.
contradict myself. Lantis is great for people that um you can't trust them to always get things right, like it's
Okay.
it's it's slow and modest. There have been studies where people take a whole pen of Lantus before bed on accident and they're fine. If you do that with
Oh my
Humalog,
God,
you're
really? It's
gonna
like,
you're
yeah,
not gonna wake up,
yeah,
so
yeah,
it
literally.
can work. The thing is, people, if you're not crazy diligent with Lantus, because this is active all day, insulin is a storage hormone. You're going to
Yeah,
store more. So if you're not
exactly.
crazy diligent with limiting your fats, you're going to store
You're gonna
fat.
get fat.
You're
Absolutely,
going to get fat. And I see it.
absolutely.
So
Yeah.
with the Humalog, it's so quick that it's like way more accurate if you do it right.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny you said because I was so every morning on the way to work, man, I go by 7-Eleven, I get a coffee and I get cookie. I get their two 7-Eleven cookies. That's like
Hell
part of
yeah.
my diet, right?
Hell yeah.
And but when we were doing that insulin protocol, I was like eating them and eating whatever, and I was like, it was still kind of in that window, like 30 minutes after I had that first meal, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
just felt like I started getting some, accumulating some body fat, getting a little soft.
A
So
little
I was
bit.
telling Branch, I was like, hey man, I've been eating these cookies like forever, and well, since after the show. And he's like, yeah, no, you can't fucking eat them. He's like, stay away from the fats.
Yeah.
Because yeah, it'll get you, man. That's the thing.
Well,
It's
you'll
like so
just end up
yeah, I
storing it. It's way easier to store
yeah.
fat, or it's way harder to store fat if there's no fat coming in,
Yeah, there's no fat. Exactly.
right?
Yeah,
So,
that's why I started getting leaner when we were doing that.
well, that is what
And
I
right,
said, and that's I've said this on previous videos because I've
yeah.
previously had said, there are times that I have self coached a lot of my process,
Oh, cool. Yeah, yeah.
just trying to learn, like it's
Hmm.
looking back, I probably wasted tons of time, but it's
Oh,
also
you
made
learned
me a
so much.
better. I'm a better coach for it, right? But there
Absolutely.
were times
Yeah,
where, probably where I wasn't super muscular and probably
yeah,
had no business using insulin, right?
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and so there are times where I've said outright, man, I'm just not a good candidate for insulin. I'm not a good candidate for Humalog. And then sure enough, like the more muscular you get, the bigger you get, the harder you train, you use this as like with a thoughtful approach. And I said the same thing the other day. I
Oh
talked to
man.
Ty Jordan, and it was like,
Oh
dude,
yeah.
if you do it right, it's gonna improve your composition. You'll put
Oh
you'll put
man.
2 pounds on in a week,
Yeah.
and then you look better. Like your lower back and
Yeah.
your abs look better.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's unreal, man. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So Dbol, you don't
Yeah.
hear tons. I know you said he's old school. That's
Yeah.
not one. I feel like kind of orals, like the kids like to say, are vaulted, right? Like
Yeah.
off-season orals are vaulted at this point.
Yeah.
You
It's true.
very
That's true.
rarely hear guys that are putting on size talk about orals.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas, like I was just talking with Ty, and we're both in the middle of a good run with Anadrol right now, and it's
Okay.
like, man,
Okay.
it's fucking. I'm letting it rip. Um,
Yeah.
so
Absolutely.
how
Man,
has
me and Ty, we did nationals 2023 together.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah,
No,
yeah, yeah.
awesome, awesome guy, man.
Oh,
If you
good
haven't
dude, man.
watched it, good conversation to listen to because he's just real deal bodybuilding too. Like
Oh,
same
absolutely.
conversation like this, where it's like,
Yeah,
yeah, I got nothing to hide, and this is what I'm gonna talk about the real shit. But
yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah,
I kind of want to ask you, going back to the powerlifting, d-
yeah.
did you know from powerlift, like were you guys using D-ball? Because when I think of D-ball, I lose my appetite, and it's like if I can't eat, then what
Oh,
good is
yeah.
it?
Okay.
So you're eating all this food, and you're talking about running D-ball. So have you never
Yeah,
gotten that response? And have you ever messed around with any of the other orals, like going back to your powerlifting days? Were you
yeah.
ever an Anadrol guy?
So yeah, probably just ran like Anadrol and some Halo, like leading up into the meet.
Hell yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
um, But man, so D-ball, I can run D-ball for a good like 8 weeks and have
Wow.
no appetite issues. But
Nice,
then
dude.
it catches up to me and
Sure.
it's like a wall. I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
now
it's
it's
immediate.
time.
Yeah.
You got to pull it. So that's where we pull it. But so Anadrol, I didn't touch Anadrol this off season. It was just a D ball, man. Ran the D
Yeah.
ball. I don't get super watery like the initial water
Right.
retention, maybe maybe a few 5-10 pounds or something, and then I just look fuller,
You just
nothing.
stabilize it. Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of stabilize. But I enjoy it, man. I like the strength aspect of it. I'm not real lethargic on it, nothing weird. It works. But yeah,
It
no,
works, dude. Dude,
D-ball's not
Anadrol,
really.
or sorry, D-ball is a hell of a time. And
Oh
if you
man,
and I've enjoyed it, and I'm not a like I said, I'm not a great candidate for it. If
yeah.
I was someone like you, bro, someone would have to be hard pressed to get me off D-ball.
There's a point where I'm like, I could force the food down. I could keep it in, but I'm like, but I'm like, no, we'll yank it. But yeah,
I
no
love it.
real high blood pressure issues. Actually, so we pulled D-ball, and then I put in just like 150 mgs of Tren E,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's when my blood pressure bumped up these last like 2 weeks,
No
and I've
shit.
really
You're
really
running
had a
EQ and D-ball all off season, no blood
no
pressure
issue.
issues, and then a little trend.
Yeah, and it's so weird to me, because I don't like really feel like I have it, you know what I
Right,
mean? But obviously I
right.
check it pretty often, and so I'm like, well, shit, okay, so I yanked that, but it was a good
Yeah.
little 4 to 6 week span,
And
before
that
we
is
we
that
just
like
started
at the
health testing.
very end of the push?
It was at the end, yeah. It kind of,
Yeah.
I think it kind of cleaned things up. I looked a little bit sharper,
100%. I love
you
that
know.
method. Love it.
Yeah,
Because it
yeah,
further, like you spend all this time adding, right?
yeah,
And then you put that in last 4 weeks, 6 weeks,
yeah.
whatever you like, and it kind of solidifies what you already have.
That's kind of what happened. That's exactly what happened. That's
Yes.
and
I
especially
love
like
that.
those last few weeks, you're pushing your training so hard. Like I started getting little tweaks and shit like
Of
that.
course.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so I had to like adjust training. So I feel like with that, it kind of helped. It, like you said, it kind of sealed things. I don't feel like I lost
Yeah.
anything. Maybe you know what I mean? Like
100%.
yeah. So
Man, that's awesome. And then so
yeah,
moving into prep, like you mentioned an anthe,
yeah.
um, will you stick with an anthate through prep or do you like acetate because it's shorter?
Yeah, we'll usually swap acetate at like eight
Yeah.
weeks out or
And
so.
how is that? Are you a guy that just doesn't get sides? Does it ruin your sleep? I'm always curious to hear because it's
My
so different for everybody.
my sleep, dude. I'm
Yeah.
waking up in like a pool of fucking sweat. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
my sleep for sure. As far as like the mood, I'm not like real short tempered on it or
You're
nothing
a
like
pretty chill
that.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty chill
I'd
guy. So I
imagine
don't.
with the family, and having to go out into the world and work a real job on top of all of it, like you have to
Exactly.
be pretty
Yeah.
cool.
You gotta stay, yeah, you gotta keep yourself in check. So yeah, for me it's just a sleep, man. Like oh man, my last like yeah, 8 weeks, prep,
Yeah.
I'm sleeping like 4 hours and 3, 4 hours, stupid stuff like that.
Isn't it
Um
wild though? Because you know that you're getting shitty sleep and that you're
yeah,
undersleeping, but bro, like,
it don't matter.
bro, it feels like you don't need it anymore.
No, I'm so productive, dude. I
Yes.
get so much done, man. Like
Yeah.
client
Now,
responses, I'm like
what
on it.
about what about like on the flip side, that run that you did with Ananthe in the off season? Did it
Yeah.
touch your sleep at all or no?
Sleep like a rock. Yeah, sleep like a
Okay.
rock. Yeah.
See, this is something I've started to discover for myself. I've always
Yeah.
talked about how much acetate ruins my sleep, right?
Yeah.
But I've kind of really only stuck to it in contest prep, right?
That's what yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
this past I did this like immediate post show rebound, and for like the second half of it I kind of let the acetate come out and clear and like get back to sleeping, and then
Yeah.
I put some enanthate back in for the first time, and I'm like,
Yeah.
man, I can feel that I'm on trend in the ways that I want to. Like I
Yeah.
could see it in my delts, or I get
Yeah.
super sweaty after you eat or whatever the case is. I
Yeah.
feel it in the
Yeah.
gym, but
Yeah.
I didn't notice it otherwise. Like you said, even
That's
my mood, I can get pretty sour on it, to be honest
yeah.
with you. And
Yeah.
the enanthate didn't do that to
That's
me at
it.
all.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That's kind of I don't know why. You
Yeah,
know.
I
That's
like it.
it is nice.
I wonder if because it's a longer ester, if it's just maybe more stable and it's not so
Yeah.
volatile.
Yeah. It could
Um,
be. It could be.
I don't
I'm
know.
assuming.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
gonna
why
let it
I
rip
always.
because that's bro science in real life. I
I
see it
know.
working.
Yeah. Because yeah, on the acetate, I'm not. not that I don't look forward to putting it in, because the
No.
changes you get when it comes in. But
Yeah.
yeah, I know the sleep is going to trash. But again, like I think those last like 6 weeks of prep, bro, you're just running on adrenaline. You know what I
Well,
mean?
and
You're
it will
just like,
cover it will mask the fact that you're not sleeping great because
yeah, absolutely.
it's gonna make your physique look crazy.
That's what
I
it
I
says. Yeah,
ran it, dude. I ran 5 milligrams a day
yeah,
this last prep,
just
because
fine.
I'm like
Yeah,
5 milligrams a day. Yeah. Because I'm
wow.
like, you know what? Let me see if I get the return on it, and let me
Yeah,
see if going way less actually mitigates the sides.
yeah.
And it did for a while. And eventually it caught up to me. And my sleep was so bad. I'm like, I'm just going to pull this. Dude, I look back at the photos now with a clear head, and there's a very clear line of
Of when?
distinction of when it happened.
Oh man.
Same body weight. Cause
Yeah.
I was ready at it like 5 weeks out. And so
Okay.
Compton would just have me kind of go down and wait for a couple days, and then he'd bring me back up and wait for
Speed
a couple.
up.
So I
Yeah.
just held around. I was probably 226 at 5 weeks out, and I
Yeah.
competed at 224.
Oh my
So he
gosh. Yeah.
kept me in the same spot, right? But I go look, and it's like that trend 226 looks a lot different than without it at
Without
226.
it,
So
absolutely.
next year I know. So that's why I
You
did
gotta
the
keep it
an
in.
anthane experiment. I'm like, maybe I'll just run this. Maybe it won't be as bad.
That's why I'm curious if you just run that all the way through,
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
keep you posted, man.
Yeah, man.
All right, so I got tons of questions for you, dude. People were excited for you. So,
Oh wow.
do you
Okay.
have time? We're about an hour in. Do you have time for a
Yeah,
couple
I'm
quick
good, man.
hitters?
I'm good. Yeah.
If there's one thing that you can say that leveled up your physique the most, what would it be for you?
Ooh, let's see. I think training, I think obviously I'm a big training guy. I'm
Yep,
very like um
you're an animal in
what's
the
the
gym,
word?
dude.
What's the
Don't be
word?
humble. You don't need to be
Yeah, I
humble
train
about
hard.
it.
I
You're an
train hard.
animal. Yeah,
Yeah, I train hard, and but I don't just train hard. Like there's a method of the madness, and I think just
yeah,
going in there, being intense, being intentional. I do what works for me. Like I get shit for the herky jerky, the fucking heavy barbell rows,
yeah. But
things
your
like
back
that.
is enormous.
So you know what I mean. So it's like, well, why would I not do those? So I think the big thing is like obviously you'll have the bodybuilders you look up to and like, man, that guy's sick or whatever. But like also do like pay attention to what works for you, what feels good for you and run with it. You know what I mean? It may look different, it may look weird, but I think that's kind of what, has happened with me is yeah, I looked up to Branch, but I kind of taken Branch's style and put my own like, spin on it, I guess you could
Yeah.
say. But yeah,
I love that. A guy
yeah.
that comes to mind, like that exact example that you gave, is Chris Fine. He's a
Chris Fine.
national level super
Absolutely.
heavyweight. He's
Yeah.
gone through some injuries, but
Yeah.
man, prior to, like, he's had a bunch of surgeries, but before that,
Damn.
when he was in his bro, I remember seeing videos of him barbell rowing 5 plates and him having like one of the wildest backs that I've ever seen.
Yeah, yeah,
So
Chris,
it's hard to
man,
argue. It's hard to
it
argue,
is.
right?
It
Let's not
is,
take
man.
out like the protractor and like break this
Yeah,
down too far. Like, this man's got an
yeah,
enormous back.
yeah. So I
Um,
think between that, dude, and then just taking your off season seriously,
yes,
not
awesome.
it's hard. Like you're not gonna. It's hard to maintain. Like come out of a show, you're like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna add 20 pounds of tissue. I'm ready to go. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
That intensity fades. So you
Yes.
gotta rely on just doing just be monotony's your best friend, man, and just sticking to the plan and just keeping that goal in mind. But yeah, just I think a good off season is the biggest game changer.
It's corny, but I like to use
Man,
the phrase that champions are made in the off season. That's where
I,
the real changes are made.
that's yeah, man. That's absolutely. You
All right.
know,
Last one. What's the hardest? And I thought this was interesting because, like I said, I competed this past year right at the top of heavyweight. So my
yeah.
whole thing this year is this is project super heavyweight for the year. I'm doing
Oh,
everything I
so you're
can
fucking
to get
go.
up there.
Yep, good.
This guy writes in and said, "What is the hardest part about truly getting up to the super heavyweights that most people just wouldn't understand?"
The food.
Yeah.
I think the
That
food.
was the first thing I thought of too. People have
Yeah,
no
yeah.
clue. They hear the
Like yeah.
numbers and they have no idea. Like, my
Oh,
family or, regular people, like they'll be
dude,
like, "Man, how much are you eating?" And I'm like, "Well, right now it's 450 protein, 1200 carb." And like they just have no
they don't
context
understand.
to it. Yeah.
They're just like, wow, that's a lot of food. Yeah, no, it's not like enjoyable, bro. It's
No.
like, uh, it's like the what obviously PEDs play a role, but like I said,
Of
I haven't
course.
taken a bunch more PEDs this year than I did the last year, and that like it's just. The food, man, being absolutely consistent with the food and just fucking relentless in your training. But yeah, I mean, if you're sitting down for 45 minutes to finish a meal, you're sitting down for 45 minutes. It is what it is. It
That's
is
right.
what it is, man. And you like, yeah, there's no way. If you look at the super heavies, they're eating more food than everybody else. There's no way they're not. There's just no, yeah.
Man, again, I harp on this point, but it just drives me crazy that there's
Yeah.
these guys that'll have 200,000 followers on Instagram
Yeah.
and they're 165 pounds, and they will say,
Yeah.
well, technically, the latest data shows,
Yep.
you do not need a calorie surplus to grow. And it's like, all right, I understand that one, it's probably clickbait for views. I understand they're playing a game, right? They're
Yep.
rage baiting. I also understand that they're kind of arguing semantics because, okay, maybe the study showed that, um, 4 ounces of muscle tissue were added in this. And it's like, no, like I'm
No,
not,
man.
this is not, you can use whatever language you want. I'm
Yeah.
talking about the guy that just competed at light heavyweight and he
Yep.
wants to be a super heavyweight in 18
Yep.
months. What the fuck are you going to tell him to do?
Yeah.
Stay
Yeah.
at maintenance?
No, dude, that's the thing. Like, you want to be a freak, man. You can't be following these guys. They're not trying to be 250 plus on stage. Like, that's
Right.
not their
And they
goal.
never
You
will
know,
be.
they never will be doing that. Absolutely not. Like, yeah, oh my God, yeah, these influencer guys, man, it drives me insane. It Look
Yeah.
back at all the best bodybuilders in the world, man. Look at their off seasons. Look at Jay and Ron. They're huge, man. They're
Bro, it
massive.
was test GH
Yeah,
Deca, D-ball, and tons and
that's
tons of food, training like a madman.
absolutely, absolutely.
It's not that it's easy, but it's very
No.
simple. It's simple.
Yeah,
It's not
it is
rocket
simple.
science.
That It's not rocket science, dude. And that's the fact. It's just I think dudes are just they want the easy way out, man. Or some
That's
guys
what
just
it
rather
is.
run 4 grams a year a week instead of eat 7,000 calories.
It
I
still ain't
mean,
gonna work, dude.
it's still not going to work. You probably
Trust
look
me,
like shit.
there's been periods I've run super high gear to see. I'm
Yeah,
thinking, okay, this is gonna be the missing piece.
yeah,
And don't get me wrong, you can mask a lot with gear.
yeah.
But if
Absolutely.
you want to get the most, like I honestly think that the more gear that you do run, you need
Yeah,
to eat more. You're going to be forced to eat
you
more.
have to try to match it. Yeah, 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 yeah.
100%.
And it's hard
100%.
because you may not, your appetite may be crashed from the amount you're
Doesn't
taking. So it's
matter.
like, yeah,
They're not going to
that's true.
ask
It
you
doesn't
next
matter.
year on stage, like, hey, was your appetite all right last off season?
So true.
It does. They don't
It
give a
don't
fuck.
matter. It don't
That
matter, man.
they're not going to say, hey, gentlemen, face the rear. Were you doing strict barbell rows? No, it doesn't make a
Yeah,
difference, right? Like
yeah,
just bring your best. But
yeah,
awesome, man.
yeah,
That's right in an hour. This was
yeah, yeah,
a
yeah,
killer conversation, man. I would
yeah,
love to
dude,
have you
definitely.
back on.
Yeah,
Um, what's the plan? Are you starting prep like March-ish? Because you're shooting for
yeah.
USA again, yeah?
We'll probably like kind of pull cheat meals out in March, just kind of start
Yeah.
cleaning up, and then and kind of drop the hammer come April.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
it
right,
takes me
cool.
like 14 weeks or so to get in shape. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah. Awesome. All right. So we will be looking out for you at USA's.
yeah,
I would expect that you're just going to go in and knock it out there.
yeah,
For people that are interested in coaching, where can
yeah.
people get a hold of you? And do you have any sponsors that you want to shout out?
Yeah, man, they could just my Instagram. It's just if you I don't know if you'll put it out here, but just
I
Texas
will. Yep.
underscore Pete. Yeah,
Yep.
Instagram's fine. I have a website. It's Ironheart Training, but that's in my bio.
Awesome.
And then
Is
yeah,
that
obviously
logo?
where.
The
Oh
on your
no, it's not. This is
oh,
I
okay,
don't even know
okay.
what this is. It's like
Okay.
I don't even know.
Okay.
But
All
yeah,
right.
man, I'm sponsored. Gasp. Obviously, they're a huge support
Awesome.
band for me, and they make a lot of things possible for me.
What's
And
the code there?
it is just Pete H.
Okay.
Pete H.
Awesome.
And then Cutting Edge Peptides, man. I don't know if y'all are into
Okay.
peptides, but yeah,
Yeah,
Cutting Edge
yeah.
Peptides, Texas Pete, TX Pete. So
Awesome.
yeah, man, both big supporters.
Awesome. Very cool. So
Yeah,
I'll put the links for all that below.
yeah,
That way you guys can get in touch with Pete, check him out, check out
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
training. Check this man is sharing every aspect of being a real deal bodybuilder. He's showing the
Absolutely.
food, the training, all of it. One of my favorite follows on Instagram right now. I will be keenly watching as your year progresses, man. I'm
Yeah,
excited
definitely.
for you. I'm really, really excited for you, especially having the chance to speak with you here. It's awesome to see how genuine of a guy you are, and that you're just, like I said, real deal, just living the shit every day.
Yeah, absolutely,
Um,
man.
so I will give you some space and let you go
Okay.
about your business.
Yes,
And
sir. Yes,
then
sir.
at some point next year, after you take down that pro card, I'd love to have you back on
Yeah.
and discuss, how it all went. So
Further. Yeah.
um, for Pete Harden, I'm Joseph
Yeah.
Percher. This was the One More Rep podcast. Until next time, guys, we are out.